Rothenberg, has he paid a political price because of these policies? Tea Party people clearly were not happy with him.
Yeah, well, I think he has paid a political price in that the domestic economy has not improved, and to the extent that he seems more concerned with international issues, to the extent that he receives applause outside the United States, that kind of reinforces some perceptions, particularly on the Republican right, about his background or about his interests or about his goals. And so it really is interesting. I think there is a direct correlation between his international support and parts of the American electorate. They see big crowds, whether it's in Berlin or in Asia, as evidence somehow that he is not consistent with American values.
Well, Jennifer Palmieri, the Obama administration chose engagement as a means to advance democracy and human rights around the world, but that has led some to accuse him of abandoning the core American values. What do you think?
I don't know that people. I don't know that American people see it that way. I think that it's more concern, as Stu laid out, that they think if he is the degree to which he's focused overseas, that he is not focused on the economy as a whole. When he gave his speech in Cairo about a year and a half ago, there was some criticism at home about that he was not embracing American exceptionalism enough, that he was equating America with the rest of the world as opposed to somehow leading the world. But with just the overall concerns about the economy, I think that that sort of has dissipated. And there are a lot of people here now who say, oh, it's terrible that he had this shellacking in the elections and then is going overseas for 10 days. But I think that he could use a little bit of a timeout, frankly, politically, getting out, going overseas. And since he's, right? Yeah, he could use a little.
Presidents do it all the time.
Get on that Marine One, get on Air Force One, and then and in this trip, Indonesia and India first, but he's ending up at the G20, where he will be pursuing American economic interests, even though he is abroad, and I think that will do him well.
And as we enter a presidential cycle, and we absolutely are, suddenly there's a whole different issue set that becomes involved in terms of foreign policy leadership, national security, experience and strength. And for the president to go around the world, it puts him in a very different setting. He suddenly looks stronger and more forceful and more dynamic. I think this is why presidents often turn to foreign policy when they can't get anything done domestically.
Michelle Bernard, could you tell us about the role that the young Americans are playing, the voters especially playing in this country now? We also have women as a major political force. We also have Hispanics. Tell us about those.
If you look at the midterm elections, it's, what was very interesting is if you looked at this election compared to what happened in 2008, young people, women, Hispanics that were very, very excited about President Obama, about the Democrats that voted that ticket in 2008 were not so excited this time. We saw a lot of older voters who voted in the midterms, and younger people really just weren't interested, stayed at home. We also saw a closing of what we call the gender gap here. Not much, but traditionally in the United States, women more often than not vote Democratic. We saw that shrink in 2004. Democratic women voted for George Bush. We saw that also happen across the board in the midterms. The gender gap has shrunk. So,
in the last minute that we have, I'd like all four of you to weigh in on one question. What do you think will be the bigger factor in determining whether or not President Obama wins his re-election? Who his opponent is, or the economy? Michelle?
The economy.
Jobs.
The economy.
I actually think the opponent in this case, given that they don't seem to be very strong on that side.
And do you think Tea Party will be as popular as it is right now?
No.
I think it's a significant force in the Republican presidential race.
If the economy is bad, yes, it will be popular. If the economy is booming and people are making money, a lot of Tea Party supporters are going to say, now what is it exactly we were so angry about?
I completely agree. If they concentrate on deficit reduction, jobs, and reducing the unemployment rate, I think that the Tea Party will not be so significant in 2012. If we don't see dramatic turnaround, the Tea Party is going to be a very powerful force in 2012.
All right, we'll leave it for another discussion, but
yes.
Thank you very much. It's been a very engaging and absorbing discussion. Thank you very much for your views and your time. And with that, we come to the end of our special show, USA Votes 2010. We are grateful to our guests and our audience and all the people around the world who've been watching us on television and on the web, and to our affiliates who carried this broadcast live.
Thank you for being with us. As we've been saying, Voice of America speaks in 44 different languages, and it's an honor to serve you, to satisfy your thirst for news and information every day. Watch us, listen to us, read us on voanews.com in English or in your own language. I'm Navbahor Imamova.
And I am KOKAB FARSHORI. Goodbye from NEWSEUM here in Washington, D.C.